Hey guys, it's JBlade2000. I am very sorry for not filming or uploading any of this week. I had an extremely bad cold and I wasn't sure if you guys would be able to understand me with it. So, I didn't film this week, or last week. And today I am off work, so I am going to film. My next video should come out about this weekend, my Sword Art Online Part 2. But I have a couple more videos that I'm planning on doing. A Force of Will deck profile, maybe a Magic deck profile, because all the Force of Will stuff from Walmart and Hastings got shut down. All Walmart has is like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm thinking about getting into Magic a little bit again, since that's all anyone really ever plays in this town. But for now, I am definitely on the RwBY hype train for Volume 4. This is why I am doing all of this. And if you can see, if I can zoom out, my parents, I actually asked for a RwBY playmat. And my parents actually got one for my birthday. So, anyway, but here are my OCs, and they are 8 people of 2 teams. And it's not like, oh, this team and this team. They actually go together. They're actually good friends. And they actually have a story of working together and being together. So, and because of all the hype for Volume 4, I was just thinking about, kind of characters, and Jake, the one-man band, did a video on putting the O back in OC, so that's kind of what I've tried for. These characters can be powerful, but I think I've put in enough limitations to make them okay powerful, and not overpowerful. Anyway, so I have kind of a story that goes with these characters. Long ago, there was a huntress named Morgana, and this huntress was well renowned and respected by the people of Remnant, and she had an aptitude for slaying Grimm, and she was one of the best in the business. Except she became far too powerful. She began wanting power and getting it in certain ways, and eventually it ramped up to the point where she was demolishing whole cities and killing innocent people just to get at Grimm and criminals. And so people began to fear her. People began to run from her and despise her. And so another huntsman named Gilgamesh came and tried to stop her. However, her power became too great that he could not just kill her. He could only banish her for a little while. And as you can see here, here a character in a little bit has kind of a foreshadowing kind of future sight ability that I'll explain later. But she sees Morgana coming back. So these characters are on a mission to stop Morgana from coming back and wreaking havoc. Because if you have Cinder and Salem and Morgana out all at the same time, all doing their own thing, all going crazy, it's going to just continue to be more hectic and more hectic until the world is eventually destroyed. So while RwBY Volume 3 and 4 are happening, this is happening. And one thing I stupidly forgot to mention before is Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh died. So him and Morgana fought. Morgana killed him. He managed to seal away Morgana, and then he died. But before he did, he left his sword in this like plateau thing. And this farming village around the continent of Vale. I'm horrible with Remnant geography, but the continent where Vale is on and stuff. is there, and a village cropped up to commemorate it. And so these 4 farming kids go along, and this one guy is trying to show off and just like, ha, look at me, I can kind of pull out the sword. And then he randomly pulls out the sword, and everyone freaks out, and they're like, you have a destiny now, you need to go to Beacon Academy and learn how to be a huntsman. And so he and his friends do. And this guy's name is Caspian Cobalt, with the color naming rule, Caspian Cobalt of Team Covenant, CVNT. And so Caspian is a leader of Team Covenant, and he's basically me. He's basically the the final form of my OC from earlier. He still has his semblance in which he can merge his soul with Victoria here. His teammate, double her power, sees what she sees, hears what she hears, knows what she's fixing to do, but his body, physical body, since his soul goes out and partners with hers, his body is mostly like a corpse. And so he needs one of his teammates, Nissa, to go and defend him whenever he is like this. And his semblance does come at a cost, because you get rid of 2 members that way. One is Caspian himself, where it is an able-bodied fighter goes down to boost another person. But you also are going to miss Nissa, which, she'll be killing Grim and protecting Caspian, but she's kind of in the back. She kind of snipes. She kind of her main role is defending Caspian when he has a semblance, and when he isn't using his semblance, Nissa can just go and take care of Grim. But if he is, she's just gonna have to defend his body, or he dies and he's dead. So basically that. His symbol is kind of a wedding ring with a sword in the middle. And it kind of ties in his inspiration, if you couldn't tell already, is King Arthur. In fact, Team Covenant is kind of mostly based off King Arthur's knights. And Caspian is a very much a romantic person, both actual romantic with his feelings for Victoria, but also romantic in the sense that he wants to save the world, and he wants to help people. He wants to make the world a better place, much like RwBY. Although his self-confidence can sometimes get in the way of that and hinder him. And he is also the leader of a team, which can also put pressure on him and not make him perform to the best of his ability. So that's about it, except for the weapon. His weapon is Gildas Avalon, which is the sword right there he's holding. And Gildas Avalon, the name, you can turn around, you can see right there, I kind of messed up drawing the handle. But the sword has kind of like 3 prongs, a giant sword tip, and then 2 little prongs coming off. You can kind of see on the edge right there. And it also has a dust crystal in the middle. Now, Gildas is the name of a person who wrote down one of the many incarnations of the King Arthur legend. And Avalon, as it turns out, is like this kingdom behind the lake where Arthur first drew Excalibur. Now, Gildas Avalon is powerful, but not extremely powerful, because its form of power isn't like Morgana's. I'm thinking of like a big purple scythe for her. But Gildas Avalon, it's more of a strategy type weapon, and that's where its power comes in. With Gildas Avalon, it sends images or ideas to Caspian about how to defeat their enemy, and gives him kind of strategies to defeat their enemy. Like if there was a Grim and he needed to slice that Grim right in the middle, right at the waist, and he's just being buffeted by these claws, the sword, he can just get this idea of his mind that the sword sends, like, you need to chop his arm off. So when the opportunity comes, he can just chop his arm off and then, chop him in half. But the problem with that, there is a limitation to the information gathering ability and strategy from Avalon. It takes a while. It takes a while to form a strategy. So in long battles, in like a team battle, like in Volume 3 for the Vital Tournament, he would need to stall for fights. Caspian would need to stall so that Avalon can gather information on this opponent and form a strategy if he can't form a strategy on his own. And that can be a big problem because he can make the fight go on for a long time with his teammates, or is getting in the yellow zone, or they're tired and they don't want to fight anymore, or whatever. And so there are limitations, even though he is quite powerful. So next you have Victoria Viridian, and she's the only character on Team Covenant that doesn't have a last name of Blue. And she is based off my own girlfriend, and she is Caspian's girlfriend as well. Now, her symbol is kind of a lopsided lily flower kind of thing. And her weapon is named Zambia Bristol. The Bristol part is just because I think the word Bristol sounds cool. And Zambia, my girlfriend, is actually going to go to Zambia in about a week and learn how to be a missionary and do all that sorts of things. And just be awesome in general, and learn and travel the world. And that's one of Victoria's dreams as well, is she wants to travel the world and see places, which she finally does get to do when Caspian kind of picks up Avalon and is now tied to Morgana and has to stop her. So she comes along. And her weapon is a bow staff, kind of like Sun's, and I didn't really draw it well here. But her is a big, long bow staff, and it transforms into these two, I think they're Japanese weapons. And they're like, they have handles. They're like iron bars with handles that she can punch things with and swing around and hit stuff with. But they also, the ends, like right here and over here, are shotgun, are hollow for dust rounds. And so she can press triggers together and they can shoot. So she has kind of a melee weapon, and my thing isn't focusing here. There it is. And her semblance, she is an empath, which means she can take on emotions. That is good and bad. Like if Victoria and like in battle, you would have a fear of, am I gonna die this time? Are the Grim gonna win? Or like the things, when Cinder took over the Vital Testicle and everyone's panicking, she can send those emotions out to her enemies. And so with Grim or human opponents, they can panic, or their same, or she can send out her own insecurities, or that she isn't very confident, and send that out to her opponents, and her opponents become less confident or fear that they are going to lose. Now, this can be both good and bad, because good in the fact that they have an advantage, but bad as, like, say there's a Perkabeth moment between Victoria and Caspian. Like on the battlefield, and Caspian's fighting and Victoria's fighting, and they look over and they're like, dang, they're covered in like scratches and dirt and stuff, but dang if they don't look fine. And those feelings, if she's not careful, she can send those feelings out. And so the Grimm or the people would avoid either one or both of them and go after their teammates because they wouldn't want to hurt Victoria or Caspian. But also, she has a problem with one of the other teammates of Team Oracle, which is the other team. I don't know if I've said that, and I mean, of course not. Of course I didn't get inspired by the Trials of Apollo just after I finished reading it for Team Oracle. I mean, of course not. And so that's basically it with Victoria. She does have kind of a powerful semblance, but it does take some getting used to. It can backfire sometimes. And Victoria's kind of based on Guinevere. I don't really have a love triangle like Guinevere and Lancelot do. I might add a character later so that she more has a parallel to Guinevere. Because right now, she's just kind of inspired by Guinevere because Guinevere is King Arthur's queen, and so that's really kind of it, though. Now, here we have Nyssa Cobalt, which is Caspian's sister, and she is based off the Knight Kay from the King Arthur legend. Now, she has dyed hair and loves music, although it doesn't tie into her semblance. She is very confident. She can be very fierce. She can also be kind of sweet as well, much like my own sister. And so she loves, going out there in the world, making the world a better place, killing Grimm, but she is also just fine with learning at Beacon and just learning new things. Her weapon is called Pride and Punishment, right there. Her shield bow is pride, and her arrows are punishment. And as you can see over here, the design is, when she has it in shield mode, the arms of her compact bow flip up and form the ornamentation of a shield. For the shield. So, in shield mode, it's kind of ornamentation. She can't really shoot arrows with it. She just holds it up, and the Grimm smash against it, protecting Caspian. Her other form is a bow, which she can shoot many arrows laced in dust that have a variety of effects at Grimm. Gravity arrows weighing them down, ice arrows sticking them in place, fire arrows making them explode, all that kind of good stuff. She does kind of wear armor, much like the other characters, Victoria and Caspian. Both also wear armor. And she has an interesting semblance. What she does is, for a very short amount of time, she can turn into a giant mountain lion. But here's the catch. The transformation takes a lot of aura. For example, if they had, if Team Covenant was in the tournament, was in the Vital Festival tournament, she would not want to turn into a mountain lion unless the situation was absolutely dire. Because once she turns back into human, her aura level would be in the red and she would automatically be disqualified. It takes a lot of aura to transform her. And when she comes out, she's dazed, she's confused, she's tired, she's cranky. Just, like at the end of a long day at work. You just don't want to do anything. You just want to collapse. And that's kind of what she does. So she doesn't really use her semblance much unless it is a dire situation. Next, we have the final member of Team Covenant, Terra Teal. And Terra Teal's based on my sister's best friend, and I don't really know her best friend that much. But she is the sniper of Team Covenant, and she can hit Grim from afar with her rifle. Now, her rifle, her sniper rifle is just, sniper rifle. But it's like Coco's weapon, that it turns into a handbag, and I believe I forgot the dangle, the strap on it. But it's a handbag, so she can use it close combat, smacking things. Also, spikes come out of the bottom to further, smack things, impale things, just basically do a bunch of damage in purse form. And then in sniper form, she climbs up tall places, climbs up, mountains and stuff, and in trees, and shoots things, and shoots Grim, and knocks weapons out of people's hands, and knocks people back with her dust rounds, and that sort of thing. She doesn't really have an inspiration for Knights of the Round Table, because, again, I don't really know my sister's friend that well. I don't really know of a knight that's like a long-range knight in King Arthur's tale. But anyway, the final thing is her semblance, and her semblance is accurate eye. What happens is her eye turns into like a rifle scope. Now, this doesn't mean she automatically locks on to a target and just completely obliterates it. What that means is, and I dropped the stupid paper, what that means is her eye basically functions like the scope of a sniper rifle. She can zoom in, she can see things better, but the target has to stay still, and she has to aim just right for it to hit. So there are problems. There are crosswinds she can account for, and she still has to do calculations on the shot. It's not like an instant, oh, I have you in my sights, I'm going to kill you. She still has to line up the shot with her accurate eye and still shoot Grim. So that's basically Team Covenant, and I'm going to go over, I'm almost at my time limit. I didn't think it'd take this long. I'm going to go over Team Oracle in just a moment.